museum donor for 16 years, I have some serious concerns. Do call me at 310-555-0176. Sincerely, Francine Hagermaker. She'd included 6 articles neatly cut from the Berkeley student newspaper and held together with a paperclip. I took in the familiar headline font, the date lines. My first sensation was an irrational burst of nostalgia. I'd let myself become so cut off from campus news. And then dread crept in, leaving no room for anything else. The first article had run 4 days ago. It was about Yvonne Copeland, and it distorted everything. Yvonne had been fired for financial inconsistencies with the grants she'd administered from the museum fund. It said she'd used students to exact petty revenge schemes, including threatening letters and acts of vandalism, on multiple university professors who had secured tenure ahead of her. I speed-read the next few paragraphs. Anonymous tip from within the art department. Improper. Students unaware of scope. Trying to make sense of the long, curvy column of words, a black and white snake in my hand. Who would have ratted Yvonne out? Not someone within the art department. No way. The collective had been operating under the surface for years without interruption. What would have changed now? But then I saw it. 2 inches from the bottom, as if it was barely relevant. A quote from Derek Schwinn III, who had dramatically increased his regular donations to the museum fund to shore it up after Yvonne's improprieties. Schwinn had, the article noted incidentally, also donated $10 million to the business department and would return as a visiting lecturer the following spring. It couldn't have been a coincidence. Schwinn clearly had found out he was a target and paid off the school. I read the article again, not just distressed, horrified. Change some adjectives, leave out some facts, and the villain becomes the hero. And it was right there in print, so what was anyone going to do about it? In one of my journalism classes, the professor had written on the chalkboard, "Ask yourself, who wrote the story, who benefits from the story, who's missing from the story?" The story painting Yvonne as a disgruntled, unethical whack job wasn't bylined, but it might as well have been written by Schwinn. Who benefited? But how had Schwinn found out? The next clippings in the tidy stack were my pieces about the FE/CO graffiti, all my small articles. Mrs. Hagermaker had seen them all these years and saved them. She was an alumna and a big donor. Berkeley must mail her the campus paper as a courtesy. "I would like to speak with you at your earliest convenience. A museum board member/mutual acquaintance sent me a distressing article, attached, and shared some related information involving you, your roommate Sarah Andrea, your research for the Berkeley paper, and another mutual acquaintance who lives across the bay." Schwinn was Mrs. Hagermaker's fellow board member and mutual acquaintance. That much was clear. He'd found out about the collective, contacted Mrs. Hagermaker to establish his version of the story, told her my roommate and I were mixed up with Yvonne's petty revenge scheme, and for good measure that I'd had a sleazy affair with Cal, another mutual acquaintance who lives across the bay. If Mrs. Hagermaker knew I'd covered for Yvonne and Sarah's little club, which had not just been liberal with spray paint, but with her donation dollars, and if she knew about me and Cal, she'd ask for her $100,000 back, maybe get my degree yanked, and Sarah's. She would tell Eric's mom, who'd tell him. And he'd never speak to me again. I went to email Sarah, but I already had a message waiting for me. "Fuck, I just found out that Yvonne's been fired from Berkeley in disgrace. She was protecting all of us and didn't say a word until it all went down. I guess that creep Schwinn found out about you-know-what. He knew everything. I know you didn't tell anyone, right? You deleted your article. Mags hasn't gotten back to me. It doesn't sound like something she'd do. I guess it was someone else who blabbed? Anyway, call me tonight, 'kay?" My article. The one we had written the night Sarah told us about the collective. We had deleted it. Sarah and Maggie watched me delete it.